Welcome to the Midnight Sip. Settle in, find a comfortable position, and let the day's concerns gently drift away. Tonight, we embark on a journey into a glass that holds more than just a liquid. It holds history, mystery, and an enduring allure. We're exploring the story of the martini, a drink that has whispered its way through more than a century, evolving, adapting, yet always retaining a certain enigmatic charm. Imagine, if you will, a dimly lit bar, not a noisy, bustling place, but a sanctuary of quiet conversation, of soft light glinting on polished wood and gleaming crystal. Perhaps it's a classic hotel bar, the kind where time seems to slow down, where the bartender moves with an unhurried grace. This is the kind of place where the martini feels most at home. A drink that invites contemplation, a companion for quiet moments. But where did this icon begin? Its origins are shrouded in a delightful mist, a tapestry woven with competing claims and colorful characters. It's a story with no single, definitive starting point, much like a dream that shifts and changes as you try to grasp it. And that's where our journey begins tonight. Sifting through the gentle whispers of the past, seeking the elusive first martini. So, close your eyes if you wish, let your breathing slow, and let us wander back in time. The Martinez Mystery. Our first stop takes us to the American West, to the latter half of the 19th century. The air is thick with the dust of the gold rush, a time of pioneers, of fortune seekers, and perhaps of thirsty travelers. One of the most charming tales leads us to the small town of Martinez, California, nestled near the San Francisco Bay. Legend has it that sometime in the 1860s or 1870s, a gold miner, flush with newfound wealth, walked into a local saloon. He asked for something special, something celebratory. The bartender, some say it might have been the legendary Jerry Thomas himself on one of his famed cross-country jaunts, though the timelines are hazy. Others say it was a local barman named Julio Richelieu. Regardless of the name, the story goes that this bartender mixed a drink. He purportedly took what he had on hand, Old Tom Gin, which was a sweeter style of gin popular at the time, Italian vermouth, also known as sweet vermouth, a dash of maraschino liqueur for an extra touch of sweetness and complexity, and a bitters, perhaps orange or Bokers. He served it with a lemon twist, or maybe it was an olive. The details, like old photographs, have faded slightly around the edges. The miner loved it, and upon asking its name, was told it was a Martinez special, or simply the Martinez. This Martinez cocktail, it was a different creature from the martini we might picture today. It was rounder, sweeter, more overtly aromatic from the Italian vermouth and maraschino. Imagine the taste, the slight botanical notes of the Old Tom Gin, softened by the sugary kiss of the liqueur, the herbal richness of the vermouth, a comforting, almost robust drink for a weary traveler. You can find recipes for the Martinez even now, a gentle echo of that Gilded Age concoction. But the mists of history are persistent. Some say the name Martini came not from a town, but from a brand, Martini and Rossi Vermouth, which was becoming increasingly popular. Or perhaps from a bartender named Martini di Arma di Taggia, who purportedly served a similar drink at the Knickerbocker Hotel in New York City around 1910 or 1911, using a drier gin and French dry vermouth. This version, if true, would be much closer to the Martini we recognize. There's no definitive proof for any single origin, only these stories, passed down through bartenders' manuals and saloon lore. And perhaps that's part of its charm. The Martini doesn't need a birth certificate. Its legend is enough. It allows us to imagine these different scenes, the dusty California town, the elegant New York hotel bar, each a possible cradle for this iconic drink. We can hold these possibilities lightly, like holding a cool glass. No need to decide, just to appreciate the mystery. Across the Atlantic, the Dry Revolution. As the 19th century gave way to the 20th, tastes began to change. The Victorian preference for sweeter, more ornate flavors started to wane, replaced by a desire for things cleaner, crisper, more direct. And the Martini, or whatever its name was at that nascent stage, began to evolve alongside these shifting palates. A key player in this transformation was gin itself. The sweeter Old Tom gin gradually gave ground to a new style, London Dry Gin. This gin was, as its name suggests, drier, with a more pronounced juniper character, a more assertive botanical profile. Think of the scent of pine needles on a cool day, a bright, clean aroma. This new style of gin provided a different backbone for the evolving cocktail. And with a drier gin came a call for drier vermouth, French vermouth, pale and herbaceous, with a subtle dryness, began to feature more prominently. The ratio of gin to vermouth started to shift too. Early martinis often featured equal parts gin and vermouth, or even more vermouth than gin. But slowly, inexorably, the gin began to take center stage. The drink became drier, and drier still. Imagine the bars of London and New York in the early 1900s, the gas lamps giving way to electric lights, the clatter of horse-drawn carriages replaced by the rumble of early automobiles. In these sophisticated new spaces, the martini was shedding its sweeter skin, becoming the sleek, potent symbol of a modernizing world. It was served in new, elegant stemmed glasses, often chilled to icy perfection. Some bartenders became famous for their very dry martinis. There are tales of merely waving the vermouth bottle over the mixing glass, or just glancing at the vermouth bottle while pouring the gin. The Montgomery Martini, supposedly favored by Field Marshal Montgomery, called for a ratio of 15 parts gin to 1 part vermouth, a very dry drink indeed, reflecting a desire for the pure expression of the gin. This was the era of the dry martini truly coming into its own. It became a statement, a preference. It was no longer just a mixed drink, it was a carefully calibrated experience. The cool kiss of the chilled glass, the bracing aroma of juniper, the subtle complexity of the vermouth, now more of a whisper than a shout. It was a drink that demanded respect and offered a sophisticated solace. Literary and cinematic cameos. A drink with such character was bound to capture the imagination of writers and artists, and the martini, in its increasingly dry and elegant form, found its way into the pages of novels and onto the silver screen, further cementing its iconic status. Think of Ernest Hemingway. His characters often sought refuge or found clarity in bars, and the martini was frequently their companion. In A Farewell to Arms, Frederick Henry reflects on the martini, noting how he'd never tasted anything so cool and clean. Hemingway himself was known to appreciate a very cold, very dry martini. He described it as civilized. There's a sense in his writing of the martini being more than just a drink. It's a ritual, a small bastion of order and pleasure in a chaotic world. And then, of course, there is James Bond. Ian Fleming's suave secret agent brought the martini, specifically the Vesper martini, to a global audience. Shaken, not stirred. That famous line. It's more than just a preparation instruction. It conveyed an image of precision, of knowing exactly what one wants, of a certain cool detachment. The Vesper, as described in Casino Royale, is a very specific concoction. 3 measures of Gordon's, 1 of vodka, half a measure of China Lillet. Shake it very well until it's ice cold, then add a large, thin slice of lemon peel. It's a potent mix, and the inclusion of vodka alongside gin was a notable twist. The shaking, rather than stirring, introduces tiny air bubbles, slightly altering the texture and temperature, making it bitingly cold. We don't need to delve into the vigorous action of Bond's world to appreciate this moment. Instead, picture the scene, the casino, the high stakes, the quiet intensity. The request for the Vesper is a small, deliberate act of control, of defining one's own terms. It's a fascinating snapshot of the martini's journey, showing its adaptability and its power as a cultural symbol. Whether shaken or stirred, the martini in these stories is always presented with a certain reverence, a certain mystique. The vodka debate and modern twists. The Vesper martini, with its inclusion of vodka, hinted at a significant shift that was to come. After World War II, vodka began its meteoric rise in popularity, particularly in America. It was marketed as a clean, neutral spirit, one that left you breathless, as one famous campaign put it. And so, the vodka martini was born. For some purists, a martini without gin wasn't a martini at all. They called it a kangaroo or a vodkatini. But names aside, the drink became incredibly popular. The crisp, clean character of vodka, combined with a whisper of dry vermouth and an olive or a lemon twist, appealed to many. It was seen as modern, sophisticated, perhaps a little less challenging on the palate than its gin-based cousin. This wasn't a battle, though. It was more like a river splitting into two gentle streams. The classic gin martini continued its elegant journey, while the vodka martini carved its own path, becoming an icon in its own right. Each offered a different experience. The gin martini with its complex botanical whispers, the vodka martini with its cool, crystalline clarity, and the martini continued to inspire variations. There's the perfect martini, made with equal parts sweet and dry vermouth, offering a bridge between the older, sweeter styles and the modern dry versions. A gentle balance of flavors. Then there's the Gibson, a martini garnished not with an olive or a lemon twist, but with a silver skin cocktail onion, a subtle, savory counterpoint to the spirit and vermouth. Some say it was named after an American diplomat, or perhaps an illustrator named Charles Dana Gibson, who liked his martinis with this particular garnish. Again, the origins are pleasantly hazy. And in more recent times, the dirty martini, with a splash of olive brine adding a salty umami dimension. Or the espresso martini, not truly a martini in the classic sense, but borrowing the name and the glamour of the iconic glass. The martini, it seems, is a canvas, endlessly adaptable, yet always referring back to that original, potent idea. Each variation is a quiet conversation with the original, a new interpretation of a timeless theme. The ritual of the perfect pour and conclusion. Whether your preference is for gin or vodka, dry or perfect, with an olive or a twist, the preparation of a martini is, in itself, a soothing ritual, a moment of calm focus, a quiet alchemy. It begins with cold. The glass, preferably, should be chilled, taken from the freezer, frosted and waiting. This ensures the drink remains bitingly cold from the first sip to the last. A heavy mixing glass, too, is often chilled. Then, the ice. Not just any ice. Clear, solid cubes are best. They melt more slowly, chilling the drink efficiently without over-diluting it. The ice is added to the mixing glass, a gentle clinking sound, a promise of coolness. Next, the vermouth. For a very dry martini, some bartenders simply swirl a small amount of dry vermouth in the chilled glass, coating the inside, and then discard the excess. A mere whisper of its herbaceous character. Others add a measured pour to the mixing glass with the gin, and then the spirit, the gin or vodka, poured over the ice, the heart of the drink. Now, the crucial moment, to stir or to shake. Stirring is the classic method for an all-spirit drink like the martini. It chills the drink perfectly while maintaining its clarity and silky texture. A gentle, rhythmic stirring with a long bar spoon, around 30 seconds perhaps. The ingredients marrying, chilling, becoming one. The mixing glass grows cold to the touch. Finally, the strain. The luminous, chilled liquid is carefully strained into the waiting, frosted glass, a clear, glistening pool, and the garnish. A green olive, plump and briny, dropped gently in, or a thin sliver of lemon peel, twisted over the surface to release its fragrant oils, then perhaps coiled and dropped into the drink or discarded, each a small, deliberate, final touch. The martini. It has journeyed through time, from hazy origins in dusty saloons or elegant hotel bars, through the pages of literature and the frames of cinema, adapting, evolving, yet always retaining its core identity. A symbol of sophistication, a ritual of preparation, a cool, clean, and civilizing presence in a glass. It's more than just a cocktail. It's a story, a legend, an enigma. And like all the best stories, it invites us to return, to explore its nuances, to find our own perfect version. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the world of the martini. May your night be peaceful and your dreams be gentle. Tonight, our journey takes us to the heart of the tropics, where fields of green sway under a warm, golden sun. We're exploring the story of rum, a spirit born from sugarcane dreams, a liquid melody that captures the very soul of the Caribbean. Imagine, if you will, the dawn breaking over a lush island. The air is soft, warm, carrying the scent of damp earth and sweet blossoms. In the distance, the turquoise sea whispers against sandy beaches, and all around, stretching as far as the eye can see, are fields of tall, slender sugarcane, their leaves rustling like a gentle song in the morning breeze. This is where the rhapsody of rum begins. In these verdant fields, under the patient gaze of the tropical sun. Rum is more than just a spirit. It is a story of transformation, a dance between nature and craftsmanship. It's a tale whispered on the warm winds, a legacy steeped in the rich soil and vibrant cultures of these islands. So, close your eyes if you wish. Let your breath deepen, and let us journey into the sweet, soulful world of rum. The sweet stalk, sugarcane and molasses. The heart of rum, its very essence, begins with a remarkable plant, sugarcane, Saccharum officinarum. Picture it, a tall, graceful grass reaching for the sky, sometimes standing 10, 15, even 20 feet high. Its stalk, a sturdy, segmented cane, is a reservoir of sweetness, a natural treasure chest filled with sugary sap. The colors vary, from pale green to yellow, sometimes streaked with purple or red, all shimmering under the tropical sun. For centuries, these fields have been cultivated with care. Imagine the scene of a harvest. In some places, the cane is still cut by hand, skilled workers wielding sharp machetes, their movements practiced and rhythmic. The swish of the blade, the rustle of falling stalks, a tradition passed down through generations. In other areas, modern harvesters move through the fields, gathering the cane with mechanical precision. But the goal is the same: to gather these sweet stalks at their peak of ripeness. Once harvested, the cane's journey to becoming rum begins quickly, for its precious sugar content can start to diminish. The stalks are transported to the mill, a place often filled with the sweet, earthy aroma of fresh-cut cane. Here, powerful rollers like giant ringers crush the cane, pressing out the sugary juice. This juice, known as cane juice or vésou in some French-speaking islands, can be used directly to make a style of rum often called rum agricole, a spirit that speaks clearly of its fresh, grassy origins. More commonly, however, this cane juice undergoes another transformation before it even thinks of becoming rum. It is boiled, a slow, careful simmering process. As the water evaporates, the juice thickens and sugar crystals begin to form. These crystals are harvested, becoming the raw sugar that sweetens our world. But what remains after the sugar is extracted is a thick, dark, bittersweet syrup. This is molasses. Molasses, a substance rich, viscous, and deeply flavored. Its color can range from a dark amber to almost black. Its aroma is intense, notes of toffee, licorice, burnt sugar, and a certain earthy depth. It's less sweet than pure cane juice, but it carries a concentrated character, a robust foundation upon which many of the world's most famous rums are built. This sticky, fragrant treasure is the lifeblood for countless distilleries, the very soul of traditional rum. The wild ferment, capturing island yeasts. With the sweet essence of sugarcane captured, whether as fresh juice or rich molasses, the next stage of the Rhapsody begins: fermentation. This is where the magic truly starts to bubble, where sugar begins its slow dance towards becoming alcohol. The molasses or cane juice is diluted with pure water, often water drawn from ancient island springs or filtered through volcanic rock, adding its own subtle character. This diluted mixture is called the wash, and now it needs a catalyst, a tiny, invisible alchemist: yeast. Yeast is all around us, floating in the air, resting on the skin of fruits, living in the soil. In many traditional rum distilleries, particularly those in islands like Jamaica, fermentation is encouraged by these wild, ambient yeasts. The wash is left in open vats, inviting these local microorganisms to settle in and begin their work. This wild ferment can be unpredictable, a symphony conducted by nature itself, often resulting in rums with incredibly complex, funky, and estery notes, those vibrant, fruity, and sometimes wonderfully strange aromas that make certain rums so distinctive. Imagine these fermentation vats. Perhaps large wooden tanks, seasoned by decades of use, or modern stainless steel vessels. The air around them is alive with a sweet, bready, slightly acidic aroma. Slowly, the yeast begins to consume the sugars, and as it does, it produces alcohol and carbon dioxide. The wash begins to bubble gently, a slow, contented sigh. This process can take anywhere from a day or two for lighter rums to several weeks for heavier, more pungent styles. Some distilleries cultivate their own proprietary yeast strains, carefully guarded secrets passed down through generations, each strain contributing its unique fingerprint to the final spirit. Others might use commercially available distiller's yeast. In some traditions, a portion of the dunder, the residue left at the bottom of the still from previous distillations, rich in organic acids and other compounds, is added back to the fermenting wash. This practice, particularly in Jamaica, contributes to the deeply savory and intensely aromatic character of their rums. It's a continuous cycle, a conversation between past and present fermentations. This stage is a quiet miracle, a patient transformation. There's no rushing it, just the slow, steady work of yeast, converting sweetness into spirit, building layers of flavor and aroma that will define the rum's soul. The gentle bubbling is the sound of potential, the nascent song of the rum to come. Pot stills and column stills, crafting character. Once the yeast has completed its work, the fermented wash, now called wine or beer, though quite different from grape wine or grain beer, holds a modest amount of alcohol, typically between 5% and 10%. The next movement in our Rhapsody is distillation, the art of concentrating that alcohol and capturing the desired flavors and aromas while leaving impurities behind. Two main types of stills are used to craft the diverse world of rum, each shaping the spirit in its own unique way. The first is the pot still. The elder statesman of distillation. Imagine a large copper vessel, often with a gracefully curved swan neck, looking like an ancient alchemist's alembic. Copper is crucial. It reacts with sulfurous compounds in the vapor, removing them and helping to create a smoother spirit. Pot still distillation is a batch process. The wash is heated, and as alcohol has a lower boiling point than water, it vaporizes first, along with various flavor compounds. These vapors rise up the neck of the still, are guided through a condenser cooled by water, and return to liquid form. Now a more concentrated spirit. Rums made in pot stills are often double distilled, sometimes even triple distilled, to achieve the desired strength and purity. These rums tend to be heavier bodied, more robust, and intensely aromatic, retaining many of the rich congeners, the flavor compounds, from the fermentation. Think of the bold, characterful rums of Jamaica or Guyana. Then there is the column still, also known as a continuous still or coffee still, named after its inventor, Aeneas Coffee. Picture a tall, gleaming tower, often made of stainless steel, with a series of plates or chambers inside. Unlike the batch process of a pot still, a column still can operate continuously. The wash is fed into the column and steam is introduced from the bottom. As the wash cascades down through the perforated plates, it meets the rising steam, which strips away the alcohol and lighter flavor compounds. By drawing off the spirit at different heights in the column, distillers can select for different characteristics. column stills are incredibly efficient and can produce a much lighter, cleaner, and more neutral spirit, often with a higher alcohol content. Many of the rums from Spanish-speaking islands like Cuba or Puerto Rico are crafted using column stills, prized for their smoothness, elegance, and mixability. Neither still is inherently superior. They simply create different expressions of rum. Some rums are even a blend of spirits from both pot and column stills, marrying the best of both worlds, the aromatic depth of the pot still with the refined lightness of the column. The choice of still is a fundamental decision by the distiller, shaping the very architecture of the rum's character. Tropical aging, the dance with humidity and heat. After distillation, many rums embark on perhaps the most patient and transformative part of their journey, aging. The clear, newly made spirit, sometimes called new make or eau de vie, is laid to rest in wooden barrels, typically oak, often barrels that have previously held American whiskey or bourbon, though sherry, cognac, or even wine casks are also used. And here, the magic of the Caribbean climate plays a profound role. Aging rum in the tropics is a very different affair from aging spirits in cooler climes. The constant warmth and high humidity accelerate the maturation process significantly. The spirit interacts much more intensely and rapidly with the oak barrel. Imagine these aging warehouses, sometimes called rum cellars or bond houses. They are often airy structures designed to allow the tropical breezes to circulate. Inside, barrels are stacked row upon row, resting quietly in the warm, humid air. The atmosphere is thick with the sweet, woody, intoxicating aroma of aging rum, a perfume known as the angel's share. The angel's share in the tropics is far more generous than in Scotland or Kentucky. Due to the heat and humidity, a much larger percentage of the spirit evaporates through the pores of the oak barrels each year, sometimes as much as 6 to 10%, compared to perhaps 2% for whiskey. It's as if the tropical angels are particularly thirsty. This concentration means the remaining spirit matures faster, taking on color, flavor, and complexity from the wood in a shorter period. Inside the barrel, a silent alchemy occurs. The wood breathes. The rum expands into the oak during the warmer parts of the day and contracts back as temperatures cool slightly at night. With each cycle, it extracts compounds from the wood: vanillin, giving vanilla notes; tannins, adding structure and spice; lactones, imparting coconut or woody flavors; and color. Harsh notes in the young spirit are mellowed, softened, rounded out. The spirit takes on hues of pale gold, deep amber, or rich mahogany, all drawn from the embrace of the wood. This tropical aging is a dynamic dance between the spirit, the wood, and the environment. It imparts a unique vibrancy, a sun-drenched richness to the rum, a character that cannot be replicated elsewhere. It is a patient conversation, lasting years, sometimes decades, resulting in a spirit of profound depth and smoothness. The blender's art, harmony in a bottle and conclusion. Even after years of patient aging, the journey of many rums is not yet complete. For the final act in this rhapsody often lies in the art of blending. Few rums are bottled from a single cask. Instead, a master blender, a highly skilled artisan with an exceptional palate and olfactory sense, selects and combines rums from different barrels, different ages, and sometimes even different stills, to create a final product that is harmonious, complex, and consistent with the desired style. Imagine the master blender in their sample room, surrounded by hundreds of glasses, each containing a different rum. They assess each one by color, by aroma, inhaling deeply, searching for specific notes: fruit, spice, wood, sweetness, esters. They taste, not by gulping, but by allowing a small amount to coat the palate, discerning texture, body, and the long lingering finish. This is a sensory art, honed by years of experience and a deep understanding of how different rums interact. The blender's goal is to create a rum that is greater than the sum of its parts. They might combine a robust, flavorful pot still rum with a lighter, elegant column still rum to achieve a perfect balance. An older, deeply oaked rum might be married with a younger, more vibrant spirit to add layers of complexity. It's like a composer arranging an orchestra, ensuring each instrument plays its part in creating a beautiful, cohesive symphony of flavor. This art requires immense patience and precision. The slightest variation can change the final character. The master blender is the guardian of the distillery's style, ensuring that each bottle that bears its name delivers the expected quality and experience. And so, from the sun-drenched sugarcane field to the quiet ritual of the blender's art, our rhapsody of rum draws to a close. The spirit is finally ready, a liquid embodiment of its tropical origins. Each sip tells a story of the sun, the soil, the rain, of patient fermentation and fiery distillation, of long, warm years resting in oak, and the careful hand that brought it all into perfect harmony. Rum. It is truly a sip of sunshine, a taste of the vibrant soul of the Caribbean, a spirit that invites you to relax, to dream, to feel the warmth of distant shores. And so, the Rhapsody of Rum, its sun-drenched song, softens to a gentle lullaby. The warmth of the Caribbean sun, the rustle of sugarcane leaves in the tropical breeze, the slow, patient rhythm of the islands, let these images cradle you as you drift. The journey from sweet stalk to golden spirit, the patient dance of fermentation, the quiet alchemy in copper stills, the long, warm slumber in oaken barrels, all these stories have been told. Now it is your time to slumber, deeply and peacefully. Feel the imagined warmth, like a gentle Caribbean evening, enveloping you, comforting you. Let the sweetness of sugarcane dreams and the soulful rhythm of the islands guide you into a profound and restful sleep. The gentle waves on distant shores, a soft sighing sound, echoing your own calm breathing, deeper and deeper, letting go completely. The vibrant soul of the tropics, now a tranquil ember, glowing softly as you journey into your dreams. Sleep now, sleep soundly, wrapped in warmth and peace. Good night.